Occasionally when you are working with PowerShell, you're going to be constructing some pretty long commands, and that's usually fine if you're just doing one-off commands. But if you're making a script, it can really impact the readability of the script and the overall usability of the script. So for instance, the new AD user command requires a lot of parameters to function and to fill in user information when the account is created. And because of that, it tends to be very long, and if you just kind of incorporate it into a script in the normal way, it goes off the side of the screen and you have to scroll back and forth to see what's going on. So here's what it looks like when you just invoke new AD user without any sort of aesthetic improvements. We've got new AD user, we're making a user named Arya Stark. We provide a lot of information about her name, her user principal name, her SAM account name, her given name, her surname, all this information that we typically want to specify when we create an Active Directory account. Password information, the temporary password, as well as the fact that we want her to change her password when she first logs on. And then we give a path to where she is in Active Directory. So in our hierarchy, so she's under users in zen.vdi. And finally, we want the account to be enabled. So you can kind of scroll through this and figure out what's going on, but it's not ideal in a script. We don't really want script information or parts of the script to run off the side of the screen. So to make your scripts more readable and more usable, there's a better way to accomplish this exact same command. And that's called splatting. So splatting looks something like this. Instead of passing those parameters in directly to the command in one long line, we define the parameters up here. So for instance, we've got $params, which means it's like a variable, equals @ curly brace, and then within that, we are defining each of those parameters. So same exact command that we just ran, it's just that we are now defining those parameters elsewhere in a vertical list as opposed to a really long horizontal list. So the syntax is the name of the parameter, followed by an equal sign, followed by the value of the parameter, which could be true, it could be false, it could be a string of text, and then a semicolon at the end. So you just go through, same parameters that we already saw, and define them in this way. And this is a lot more readable, no more horizontal scrolling. And you can even alphabetize the parameters. I guess you could do that as well when you're doing a kind of a command like this, but it doesn't really help you very much. Whereas when you alphabetize it this way, it can make it easier to find whether or not a particular parameter has already been defined. So you take all this and you can pass it to new AD user using the @params syntax, and then it runs in the exact same way. It's just a lot more readable. And then when you've got a really long list of parameters, not only is it not going off the side of the screen, but if you're using the PowerShell sort of development environment, you can even just minimize that or collapse it, I guess I should say, and kind of get it out of the way unless you need to modify it. So let's see if it runs. I'm just gonna click play here, and it looks like it worked. Let's go to Active Directory users and computers really quickly and see if Arya is in there. So let me close out of it and go back in. Yep, and there's Arya Stark. So we've successfully made that demonstration account. So that's called splatting again, and I think it's a good way to improve the readability and usability of PowerShell scripts, and hopefully it's useful for you.